Good morning everyone, this is Charalambos Pissouros, Senior Analyst at IronFX, bringing you the morning comment for the 7th of February. Overnight, the RBA kept its policy stance unchanged, as was widely expected. Overall, the officials maintained an optimistic tone, which was a surprise for us, as they disregarded the latest mixed data out of Australia. On the negative side, they reiterated that the rising Aussie could complicate economic transactions in the economy and that medium-term risks in the Chinese economy persist, but these comments were not enough to offset their confident view on the domestic economy. Aussie dollar traded higher on the decision after it hit support near 0.7640. Given that the bank is likely to remain on hold in coming months, we expect the Australian currency to remain supported. The short-term trend is already positive, and as such we would expect a clear break above 0.77 to open the way for our next resistance of 0.7740. As for the longer-term outlook though, we would like to see a decisive close above 0.78 before we get confident on larger bullish extensions. In New Zealand, two-year inflation expectations for the first quarter rose to 1.92% from 1.68 previously, data showed overnight. Expectations are now almost at the midpoint of the RBNZ's 1 to 3% target, which in our view greatly diminishes the likelihood for any further action by the bank in the foreseeable future. Kiwi dollar surged and emerged above the resistance, now turned into support zone of 0.7335 and now looks to be headed towards the next obstacle area of 0.74. The price structure on the 4-hour chart suggests a short-term uptrend, while the pair is now trading above the prior downside resistance line taken from back at the peak of the 7th of September. As a result, we would expect the bulls to remain in the driver's seats, and if they prove strong enough to overcome the 0.74 territory, we would expect them to target the next resistance of 0.7440. Attention now turns to the RBNZ meeting tomorrow. We expect the bank to be quite pleased with the progress towards its mandate, as both the Q4 CPI rate and two-year inflation expectations rose notably, something that could lead to a rather optimistic statement. Now back in Eurozone, the common currency took a hit yesterday, while safe havens rallied as Eurozone's political risks came into the market's focus. In France, the centre-right presidential candidate François Fillon apologized over payments his family members received for parliamentary work. In our view, this diminishes his chances to win and in turn increases the probability that the far-right candidate Marine Le Pen is victorious. Le Pen is an outspoken Eurosceptic who wants to hold a Brexit referendum. As such, the possibility of her election represents an existential threat for the European Union, one much greater than Brexit, we think, considering that France was among the founding members of the EU and is also a member of Eurozone. Euro-yen tumbled yesterday, breaking three support, now turned into resistance barriers in a row. Now the rate is trading below the psychological figure of 120 and looks to be headed towards the 119.50 barrier. Given that the pair is trading within a downside channel since the 27th of January, we would consider the short-term trend to be negative. A clear dip below 119.50 is possible to open the way for the next support territory of 119.70. As for today's events, the US trade balance for December is expected to show that the nation's trade deficit narrowed, albeit slightly. The JOLTS survey for the same month is due out as well, and expectations are for an increase in the number of job openings. From Canada, we get the IV PMI for January, though no forecast is currently available. Our own view is that the IV index is likely to have risen, something supported by the nation's market manufacturing PMI for the month, which showed the fastest growth in the sector since late 2014. Something like that could bring the loonie under renewed buying interest. We also get the nation's trade balance for December. We have only one speaker on today's schedule, ECB Governing Council member Jens Wittmann. For more information, please read the full comment on ironfx.com or download our app and get all the information you need to trade. Also, you can follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or circle us on Google Plus to get more trading ideas. This is Charalambos Pissouros, Senior Analyst at IronFX, wishing you solid trading.